Oh, hey, this is a speed paint video. You might be thinking, what the fuck is this? I randomly got the idea at like midnight that, hey, you know what would be cool? Pokemon region based on microorganisms. So I decided to sit down and draw a concept for one of the starters because, like, I am not going to do all of them in one night. Because I actually like living. Anyway, this is Haycalf. You'll see that Haycalf does not start out as a cow, which is intentional, because originally I was looking at the Wikipedia page to kind of see Speedpaint is a probiotic, and it's also generally recognized as safe, but also it's non-pathogenic, so it's used as a probiotic anyway. But I got curious because I'm like, it did. I wanted to see if it was found in the guts of any organisms of interest, and I saw bees on there, and I was like, what? Which was interesting and really cool. So originally I was going to do bees, because also in addition to being just really cool, bees kind of lend themselves really well in shape language to Hey Bacillus, which is Bacillus subtilis, because Bacillus subtilis and pretty much everything, and I think the Bacillus genus is made up like of these chains of bacillus-shaped bacteria. And if you're wondering what bacillus-shaped means, it's kind of like, think ovular rectangle, sort of. Not exactly the best explanation I have of it, but hey, it's like it's not 3 a.m., it's 1:30 in the morning, I don't care. I'll fix this later if I actually make this a series or something. But originally I was like, I'm gonna do a bee, because I thought that would be cool, and I was like, shape language lends itself really well. But then I was like, how do I combine this with hay? Because I'm like, Bacillus subtilis is called hay bacillus, I should combine this with hay in some way, because I think that would make sense and be fun. And then I just couldn't figure out how to combine it with hay and have it make sense. It just kept ending up looking too blocky, and I didn't like it. So I pivoted hard, and I was like, what is hay associated with? I'm like, okay, farm animals. And I thought of cows specifically, because, I don't know, I just like cows. I think they're neat. Also, if I ever do a follow-up, the evolutionary line for Haycalf would be going from a Bacillus subtilis-based organism to Bacillus cereus, which is in the same genus, and kind of bridges the gap between Bacillus subtilis and Bacillus anthracis really well to Bacillus anthracis would be the final form. And Bacillus cereus is a food-borne pathogen. It's really associated with more starchy kind of like foods rather than like things like meat. But still, foodborne pathogen. A lot of people, when they hear foodborne pathogen, think raw meat, raw eggs. Ugh. No, that's not how foodborne illness works. I mean, sometimes that is how it works, but not all the time. A lot of the time, you can get food poisoning from stuff like, fecal contamination on produce. Drinking raw milk. PSA, don't drink raw milk. I will fucking find you. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. Like, you're going to get sick. The reason we pasteurize milk is because, it kills the bacteria and viruses and all the nasty gunk inside of the milk. Because, even if you've sanitized a cow's udder, bacteria is everywhere, including in the air. Please, Louis Pasteur did not die for this. Tangent over, where was I? Oh yeah. The design's pretty simple because it's like late at night and I don't particularly care. I'll flesh it out later if I decide I want to do this again. I honestly kind of do now that I'm talking about it, but hey, who knows? I'll probably change my mind in the morning. I think my favorite detail that I'm going to keep when I actually flesh out the design is kind of like having the tail look like it's braided, which I did by just making a bunch of the bacillus shapes kind of chained together and adding a little hay tuft on the end. It's very cute. It's a very subtle detail and I like it. In general, I think it's a pretty simple design, and I do like it a lot. Type-wise, I was like, grass fairy makes a lot of sense, because Bacillus subtilis specifically is used as a probiotic, and it's non-pathogenic, and it also has a lot of use in research, including bioremediation. And the reason I bring up bioremediation specifically, as you'll see when I get to the ability section, is bioremediation focuses on kind of using microorganisms to kind of handle, clean up pollution, which can range from things like heavy metal to cyanide, a bunch of cool stuff. And Bacillus subtilis has a lot of promising research showing it might be a good candidate for this, as well as the fact that it's not pathogenic makes it a lot easier to manage and handle than having to do something with pathogenic bacteria where you risk, if you don't carefully monitor it, making people sick. But it's just, I like it, and also it's kind of practical to have an ability that makes it immune to poison, because this thing is 4 times weak to poison because of its typing. I'm dying, good lord. If my voice sounds weird and you watch any of my like stream VODs that are on this channel, or like the shorts, you're like, why does his voice sound raspy and bad? It's because I have been coughing nonstop. I don't know why. Probably allergies. But when it came to colors, I knew I wanted to kind of keep it simple, very beige, beigeish yellow, like tan colors, and then I had kind of purple the accent because it's gram-positive, and gram-positive bacteria are purple. Honestly, gram-positive and gram-negative being color related for bacteria is probably going to come up if I continue this as a series. Just because it's a very easy source of color, because bacteria kind of naturally aren't colored until you stain them. Some bacteria do produce pigments, and you can modify bacteria, obviously, to produce pigments. The biggest example is E. coli. You can make it glow green, which is pretty cool, very easy to do. But naturally, a lot of bacteria are just kind of colorless, and you have to color them via staining. And one of the bigger ones, when we talk about staining for identifying bacteria, is gram staining, where it either is purple or pink, and it also tells you a bit about the cell structure itself. But yeah, I do like this little guy. I think I'm going to actually revisit this design at some point and kind of flesh it out and make it look more like a Pokemon rather than just a weird little freak of a creature. But yeah, I like this. If you want to see this be a series, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching this absolute nonsense. I'm gonna go bed now.